This is a Sports Catastrophe production.
Hey there, Heather, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, November 29th, 1952, way back when, the Toronto Argos and the Edmonton Eskimos were playing in the Grey Cup. And two legendary players, were head coaches. Frank Clare, which of course had his name on a stadium for the Ottawa Rough Riders way back in the day, and Frankie Filchuk, who was an NFL star but got permanently banned for gambling on games. It happened. So this was a huge one. If you're thinking, well, the Argos won the game 21-11. Thinking, first Grey Cup in Argos history? No. Most important Grey Cup win in Toronto history? No. It's for the one simple fact and the one simple medium. Television. That's right. I know that Americans got to see like college football and pro football before 1952, but Canada did not have a national telecaster, aka national channel, until 1952 in September when the CBC came on the air, the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. And they tried to go coast to coast. Now, this first broadcast was actually only for those who could get the Toronto channel on their antennas. But back when antennas were a thing. And all that. So, anyway. CBC Toronto's flagship station CBLT paid $7,500 Canadian dollars to the Canadian Rugby Union, which had basically the rights to the Grey Cup before 1958 when the CFL took control of it, for the rights to broadcast the game. And it was only locally on CBLT. Live network connections with other CBC stations were not available until 1953, although they did kinescope for movie theaters and other TV stations. Of course, back in the 50s, it wasn't uncommon for a technical failure to ruin things for people. Much of the third quarter was not broadcast and all that. They still had commentator audio and all that. Thankfully, the images were restored to the final quarter when CBC technicians repaired the link. So, a $1.85 vacuum tube was broken. But anyway, over 700,000 fans got to watch that game live. Of course, Toronto being big as it is now. So, 700,000 fans. And let's not forget, this is not worldwide. This is not nationwide. But anyhow, acting Canadian Prime Minister C.D. Howe opened the game with a ceremonial kickoff. 27,391 people packed Varsity Stadium in Toronto to see the game. Of course, this is before Exhibition Stadium and the Sky Dome were a thing. So, anyway, the first quarter saw Edmonton get a touchdown by Normie Kwan to make it 5-0. Of course, CFL scoring at the time was different. Touchdowns were worth 5 points, and the extra point was worth 1. So you would only get 6 points for a touchdown instead of 7. That changed, I believe, in 58. But yeah, that was weird, seeing 5 points. Of course, Toronto would take the lead as Nobby Workowski scored a touchdown to tie the game, and then Red Ettinger kicked the field goal to make it 6-5. And then Ettinger kicked the field goal to make it 9-5. And then Billy Bass with a touchdown for the Argos late in the second quarter. Extra point good, so it was 15-5 Toronto. But Edmonton came back with a touchdown, Normie Kwan's second touchdown of the game. And then Bill Snyder did convert the extra point to make it 15-11. However, Toronto came back with a touchdown by Zeke O'Connor. Conversion good. And the Toronto Argonauts were the 1952 Grey Cup champions, 21-11. As you can see in the picture. But little did people know, Argo fans especially, that this would be the last time in 31 years that the Argos would win the Grey Cup. The Argos actually had a spirited thing of not even making the final, much less winning it. It took to 1971, a Grey Cup that I talked about yesterday for Sports Catastrophe, for the Argos to make the final, and then we all know about Leon McQuay's unfortunate slip on the very wet artificial turf at Empire Stadium in Vancouver. That cost the Argos the game. The Argos, I think, had a few other brushes with Grey Cup success. I think 1982 for sure. Well, obviously, when they lost to Edmonton on home turf at CNE Stadium, aka Exhibition Stadium. But in 1983, they narrowly beat the BC Lions in BC, 18-17, to win the Grey Cup in 1983. And the funny thing is, and this is a big stat according to my friend Bill Lang, that since 1987, every time the Argos have been to the Grey Cup final, they have not lost. They have won. So 1987 was the last time the Argos lost a Grey Cup final, and then for years, if I can remember correctly, and I'm going to probably be wrong, but anyway, I'm doing this off of memory. 91, 96, 97, 04, 12, 17, and 22 is when the Argos won the Grey Cup without losing it in the finals. So that's an interesting stat if you're an Argo fan. Really is. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond.